everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Grassroots Racer. This week I speak to someone who's driven a lot of cool cars, from Australian Formula 3 to LMP3 cars, radicals and more, as well as rapping some too. I can't wait to hear more. Welcome, John. How are you tonight?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm great. Well, first off, where did you get your passion for motorsport?
Ooh, passion for motorsport. So my family has been involved in motorsport ever since I was born. My mum races. She races in a radical SR3. She met my dad through motorsport. They were both in a car club. And then my mum as well, her dad used to own a speedway team back in the 60s and 70s. So she essentially grew up around it as well. So yeah, I guess you can't say I was destined to sort of fall into the sport. So that's where it all kind of came from.
Yeah, so lots of people started out in karting. You didn't yourself. So what did you first race?
Never did go-karting. I had a little bit of scoliosis, so like a curvature of the spine when I was a kid. And yeah, I guess mum and dad thought that, for the safety of my back and longevity of it, to not do go-karts, which are obviously quite harsh on the body. So yeah, I had a bit of a delayed entry into motorsport. I was very lucky enough though that mum had a E36 race car that she was racing, and we got a bit of property here in Sydney. So yeah, I sort of started driving cars when I was about 9 or 10. So I used to grab every pillow off my bed, bring it out to the race car, slide the seat all the way forward, and then stuff the pillows in the race seat just so I could, 1, see, and then 2, reach the pedals. So yeah, essentially started driving cars then, and learning a bit of car control in the paddock. But then I didn't really get any sort of competitiveness until about 14, when we started doing super sprints with the BMW car club. And that was kind of like the first taste of actual proper racetrack experience. And whilst it wasn't super competitive, it's just you against the clock. The next kind of step up was we did Formula V in the New South Wales Championship, and I think I was 17, when we started Formula V. So I guess you could kind of say that was the first proper championship kind of level category that we got into.
So you just told me before that you did Formula V. So how did you start out in open wheelers, and what chassis did you race?
Formula V, I guess I was getting to the age where I really wanted to start doing proper racing. And mum had actually done Formula V, when I was little. So that's kind of like the first, I guess, category we thought of, because it's something that, was relatively affordable. And, it was a good kind of learning curve to make a start in trying to get some sort of career out of motorsport. So funnily enough, when we were looking at getting into Formula V, back when mum first, was racing it in the late 90s, she had Jason 97, I think it was. And yeah, it just so happened to be that when we were looking to get into it, and we sort of said to David Cupps, who builds all the Jaces, we're looking to get back into it. And then not too long after that, mum's old Formula V actually came up for sale. And I guess you could kind of say the stars sort of aligned, and yeah, we ended up buying mum's original Formula V back. And then yeah, that's kind of how we got into it. Yeah, it was kind of weird how everything kind of fell together, but it was really cool to, I guess, get my start in motorsport in mum's old car. That was really cool.
Yeah, and Formula V is a great category to race in. Did you get any chance to race in Formula Ford?
Yeah, so I mean, Formula V was awesome. I think it just spent too long in the category, to be fair. Yeah, I think I did 2.25 race meetings. Yeah, so my last race meeting in Formula V didn't end well. I ended up in a wall at the last corner at Oran Park. Like, we fixed the car up and whatnot, and I guess we again came to a kind of crossroads as to what we we're going to do next. And I remember at a couple of state meetings, you know, Formula Ford was always a support category as well. And I just I love the look of Formula Fords as well. You know, very similar to Formula V, just a little bit wider track and obviously a bit more power. And then yeah, I guess we started making some inquiries around, and yeah, managed to get in contact with a team here in Sydney called Anglo-Australian Motorsport, who eventually invited us for a test day, which all came about super quickly. Fun little story. I was actually up at schoolies on the Gold Coast, and I got super sick with the flu, and then I got a call from mum and dad saying I had a Formula Ford test. You know, a couple of days after getting back from schoolies. And even though I was as sick as a dog, I flew home early and did my first Formula Ford test at Wakefield. And yeah, I probably should have been on my deathbed, to be honest. I was really, really sick.
So you got sick and you went and tested Formula Ford. So what was it like jumping in at like the speed difference, I guess? Because lots of people do mention that there is a speed difference between Formula Ford and Formula V. Did you feel it instantly?
Yeah, definitely. So I remember my first ever session, the biggest thing that I noticed straight away was the vibrations at low speed in the Formula Ford were nothing else that I had experienced. You know, like my whole body was just rattling from the vibrations. You know, it was hard to breathe the first lap that I did, but yeah, it was a significant speed difference. I actually ended up having a really good comparison. After my Formula Ford test, there was a test day at Sydney Motorsport Park for open wheelers, and we took the Formula V out to once it was repaired to make sure everything was all a-okay before we were potentially going to sell it. And yeah, I just remember going down the straight at Sydney Motorsport Park in the Formula V, and this would have been a couple of weeks or less, maybe more. I can't remember exactly, after the Formula Ford test, and going down the straight, yeah, I just felt like I had all the time in the world in the Formula V. Like, I remember looking up to the pit building, and on top of the building where everyone essentially was watching from, and I could have all the time in the world to pinpoint exactly where mum and dad were standing. Yeah, I felt like I had so much time to have a cup of tea going down the straight compared to a Formula Ford. So yeah, it was a big difference, but kind of like with every category, you very quickly get used to the speed difference. It might take 10, 20 laps or a couple of sessions or a couple of a day or so to get adjusted, but once the initial shock is done, you're kind of used to it.
Yeah, and how did you go on your first season of Formula Ford?
Not too bad. So we ended up doing the 2010 New South Wales Formula Ford Championship. It wasn't too bad. We I guess we're around the top 5 most of the time. I guess the second half of the season probably was the better season, or better part of the season. I had a big crash at Wakefield, actually. I T-boned my teammate, which is never ideal. He still reminds me about it to this day, every time we catch up. The second half was good. Once I broke through for the first podium, and then the final round, I had my first ever 2 race wins, and then first round win. So yeah, it was a really good first year. I think we ended up 3rd in the championship. We won the pre-2000 class championship because I was in a Van Diemen 92, so the car was the same age as me. We got Rookie of the Year as well, and then the really cool thing right at the end of the year, which was completely unexpected. I was awarded the Camps New South Wales ACT Young Achiever of the Year, which was super cool and totally unexpected. So I guess you could say we did pretty well.
Yeah, so that's awesome that you finished third and you won the Camps New South Wales Young Achiever Award. Why do you believe you had such a good season?
That's a really good question. I think it was a really good learning process. So the first, I guess, half of the season, it was probably learning, proper racecraft, because I didn't do too many rounds in Formula V, so I never really got the racecraft down packed. So yeah, it was a big learning curve, and Anglo Motorsport, the benchmark team in New South Wales Formula Ford. So I credit a lot of it to their development. The team owner, Tim Beale, is really good with bringing through young talent, and just the way that he works with us to develop your driving, your understanding of the car, and it was like my first introduction to ever reading data. It was just a big learning curve over the whole year. And I guess as each event ticked along, you keep picking things up, and I guess towards the end of the season, everything started falling into place. And I think to get third in the championship, I had to do pretty well in the last round. Thankfully, we won 2 races, and that just secured us third. So we're lucky in one sense, but a lot of credit goes to Tim and everyone at Anglo Motorsport that year. It was a big learning curve, and those sort of environments with a good team behind you really help propel you to good results.
After that, now, if I'm correct, in 2012, you did the Australian Formula 3 National Championship. Tell the viewers and I how that experience was.
Yeah, so 2012, the year before, we did another year in Formula Ford, albeit in Victoria. We're part of the AMSF Rising Star program. That wasn't a great year, to be fair. I think the coolest things out of that year were doing the training camps at the AIS and up on the Gold Coast. That was the highlight of the year, to be fair. 2012, we didn't have any racing plans at all. I had been following Formula 3 for a while, it all oddly came about. I think my mum had gone and got some driver coaching from a guy called James Winslow, who's from the UK. He's a multiple F3 champion, and now he's a multiple champion overall. He's an absolute whiz behind the wheel. And she got some coaching from him because she just started to get into radicals. And then he was racing Formula 3 that year. And I'd kind of expressed that, it would be cool to race a Formula 3 car. So we inquired to the team that he was racing for, Artec Motorsport in South Australia. And initially we're just going to line up a test day just to see what the cars were like and if that could have been a path to go down. And then, we sort of got called up. I think it was on a Monday or a Tuesday, and said, there's a race meeting this weekend. We've got a spare car. Do you want to jump in? So, halfway through that season, I jumped. The first time I ever sat in a Formula 3 car was for my seat fitting on a Friday morning just before practice. And we ended up doing 3 rounds that year, which was a really cool experience. Those cars are just phenomenal. So from there, we sort of thought this is the path we want to go down. And that's how we kind of got there to start with.
And what do you like most about driving Formula 3 cars?
Just the level of grip, really. the fastest circuit racing cars in the country. I think S5000 are a little bit quicker on some particular tracks, but that Formula 3 is still fastest, I guess, on the majority of tracks, or at least not on par. But at the time, they were certainly the fastest circuit racing cars in the country. Just the grip was just phenomenal. I also think my driving style was very suited to Formula 3 cars and aero cars. It was just so fun to drive. I don't know how else to explain it, but yeah, driving an aero car with so much grip is just phenomenal, to be fair.
Yeah, I can't imagine, being able to just turn into a corner and having all that grip underneath me.
Yeah, well, I remember my first event at Sydney Motorsport Park in a Formula 3 car. They're telling me, turn one's flat, you don't lift kind of thing, and never I guess really watching videos of them, but getting told you can go flat through turn one is odd, but you sort of build yourself up to it, and then when you go flat through, I think turn one was 240 kilometers an hour, and it's pretty wild. And then once you get the confidence with the grip, they're such a cool car to drive.
Yeah, I would love to drive a Formula 3 car around Sydney Motorsport Park, especially because of all of its long corners. I feel like it'd be really fun to drive, like stick to the track.
100%, yeah. There's Sydney Motorsport Park, Phillip Island, Bathurst are all awesome tracks to drive an F3 car. I've heard the Bend is really good in those cars too. Not that I've driven a F3 car around there. I'd like to. It'd be nice. But those kind of tracks, with long drawn out corners where you can really lean on the aero, So those circuits and those cars are just made for each other. Yeah.
You obviously enjoyed Formula 3 and you actually won the championship in 2015. So you've definitely achieved some good results over the years. What was sort of your favourite part of the category? Like, what did you love the most about it? It could be from winning the championship to just anything about the series.
I mean, winning the championship was awesome. Any driver that tells you it's not kind of lying. I think overall though, just the people that were in and around the category, everyone was super helpful and super lovely and really supportive. So it made for a really awesome environment to be around. Especially when I went to Gilmore Racing, that was very much a family orientated team, and you're essentially one of their own. I'd say just the overall environment that they provided was really, really supportive. The cars are, as I said, phenomenal to drive. So there's a lot of enjoyment out of that. I just everyone that was involved in the category, I always really got on well with, and always enjoyed being around them. So even if when I wasn't racing, because there were a few years where I may have only done one or two rounds. Still whenever I could, going out to the track to see everyone there. It was just a fun place to be, really. I think that my takeaway from my time there was just the people around, the environment was just really supportive, really cool, good fun, good people. I guess that's probably the biggest thing I take away from it, apart from driving them and apart from winning the championship too.
So, moving on from your Formula 3 career, which was amazing, I believe you and your mum made history being the first mother and son pairing in Radicals. So, that's really cool. And you've mentioned a couple times that your mum raced. So, how long did she race for?
She's technically raced since she was 13. She probably won't like me saying that. But she dabbled in speedway cars when she was quite young. And she had a bit of a break. through, I guess, her 20s and stuff like that. And then, she was still racing when my brother was born. He's older than me, still racing when I was born. So I've never known a time that she hasn't not raced. We essentially made history twice, not the globe, but the first, I think it was 2013. Well, actually, no, it was 2012, actually. The same year I had my debut in F3. It was Mum's first year in the Radicals as well. And we teamed up because the Radical Australia Cup, they do 50-minute, mini enduro races. So you can either do it yourself or you can have two drivers. We ended up teaming up together. It was the first time in Australian motorsport history that a mother and son had raced together, which was super cool, super unique. And then, a few years later, we made history again by, I guess, being the first mother and son on a podium in a national event. So, it's kind of cool to have that. I mean, that little slice of history. It's quite cool.
But considering most of them are two-seater, or some of them are two-seater, could you, for an example, you sit in the right seat and then she sits in the right seat so there's different seat lengths and different seats, or would that not be allowed?
It wouldn't work because even though it's a two-seater, all the pedals and the steering is still on the right side.
Yeah.
The beauty about Radical, by being a two-seater, so another thing I do is a lot of driver coaching, and we've done driver coaching in Radical. So first of all, you can take people for hot laps, which is really, really cool. So not just for friends and family, for sponsors, investors and partners, you can take them around for a proper experience. And then on the other side of things is, you can have an experienced driver trainer jump in the passenger seat, and you've got an intercom in the seat as well, so you can talk to the person next to you. You can actually get live driver training around the racetrack. And you'll also find that some of the Radicals, or at least most of the ones that I've been in, they actually have a second set of pedals. They have a clutch and a brake on that side. And again, that's just for driver training purposes. Whilst you can't physically drive from that side, if it's set up for driver training purposes, you can still kind of clutch people and brake a little more if the person driving scaring you.
I definitely wouldn't be allowed to take anyone I know in there. They'd be
yeah.
They'd definitely be just pumping the brake, slow down.
Thankfully, to avoid that, so if you don't want people doing that, there is a little bar that you can put across the pedals so that, if you have a passenger, their feet are up on the bar and not pressing the pedals trying to slow you down.
Could you tell me about the time you got a test in an LMP3 car? How did the opportunity come about?
Yeah, I mean, LMP3 at the time, so that was 2016. It had been sort of an emerging category over in Europe. In 2015, actually, I had started exploring opportunities in LMP3 over in Europe, because that's what I wanted to be my next logical step after Formula 3. And sort of at the time, value for money in LMP3 was better than anything else in Australia. I mean, we didn't really have any big plans for 2016. Oh no, we had plans, but those kind of fell through. So we weren't racing for a good chunk of 2016, and I happened to meet a guy by the name of CQ who had just bought an LMP3 over in Malaysia, and he was looking to get an all Aussie team on board to essentially tackle the Asian Le Mans series. So we got invited to fly out to Malaysia to go to Sepang for a couple of days testing. So they had myself there, Garnet Patterson, and Hayden. Oh my god, I'm going to get in trouble for forgetting his last name. Yeah, I think I was Hayden, I think. But yeah, we all essentially got, I guess, yeah, a fair bit of testing there. So I had one day, a day before the Asian Le Mans Series first round, and then a couple of days after that, I was able to do another day. So yeah, that was a really cool opportunity that kind of came out of the blue. And thankfully, yeah, I guess because of the credentials that not just myself had, but the other two guys had, yeah, we were sort of, I guess, at the top of the list to come try out in one of those cars. And yeah, it was an awesome experience, and it only fueled my passion to try and get into it more. Whilst that didn't happen, it was still something that even today, you know, I'd still love to jump in one, because I think making that next step from Formula 3, it really is kind of the next step up. And my ultimate goal in motorsport was to race and win the Le Mans 24-hour. So in terms of getting into like a sports car category, LMP3 was sort of the first stepping stone towards making that happen.
And I could definitely see why you wanted to get into the Asian Le Mans Series, because like when I've watched it, it is very competitive, and I think an all Aussie team would have done really well. So you told me before about the radicals and stuff about like driver coaching, and you slightly mentioned you did do coaching. Like, do you still do it today, or has it sort of stopped?
I still do a little bit here and there. Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of kept super busy with my business these days. You know, I'm helping out a guy that owns a business next door to us. He does a lot of track days, so I'm kind of helping him a little bit. It's something I definitely want to get back into a little bit more, just because it is, you know, motorsport's been my passion from day one, sort of thing. So yeah, I think a lot of the people in the industry suffered through COVID, because obviously no events were able to happen. So I've got a lot of mates who make a you know, good living through driver training and all those kind of events. So yeah, seeing them kind of struggle was tough through that period. And you know, being able to get back into it, and not just to catch up with the people in the industry, but you know, yeah, to get just back into the further opportunities. Yeah, it's something that, whilst I'm not doing a lot of it at the moment, yeah, I really want to pick that up again. So hopefully with the business, that allows me a bit more time to eventually, yeah, do that a bit more.
With COVID, I know it stopped a lot of racing for a lot of people and others.
Yeah.
But now racing's starting to take off again. Are you planning on racing anything at the moment?
I'd love to. Like most things, a lot comes down to money. Yeah, it's an expensive sport, unfortunately. It's also an addictive sport. So those two things don't always align very well. But yeah, no, there's some things we want to do on the horizon. Again, you know, we're hoping with the business and stuff like that, that as that continues to grow, hopefully that leads to more opportunity to get into a car again. So I think like we ended up wrapping my mum's radical in my business's colours. So I've sort of you know, tapped her on the shoulder, being like, hey, can I get behind the wheel of this for at least one round to yeah, drive the car with my own business on it. So yeah, hopefully next year we'll be able to jump in the radical, whether it's on our own, or you know, if radical keep doing endurance races, you know, hopefully Mum and I can team up again and do some endurance race. Well, I guess, yeah, the 50-minute races. You know, hopefully we can do a bit more of those. That'd be really cool. Other than that, yeah, there's a few other things that, you know, we're always keeping our eye on, but yeah, it's just whether those opportunities come around at the right time is probably the biggest thing.
Yeah. So you just mentioned about your car wrapping business. So when you're not racing, you're wrapping cars. From what I've seen, you've done an amazing job. What has been one of your favorite cars to wrap?
I mean, there's a couple. I've wrapped a McLaren Senna. That was a super cool car. I think that only at the time that I wrapped it, there was only like 3 or so in the country. That one was pretty cool, pretty unique. Recently, we just wrapped a Bentley Continental, which had like nearly $100,000 worth of carbon fiber aftermarket parts put on it, and that was a really unique car. And that was a really fun job to do, actually. I look back at that, and that was really fun. It's so hard to pick and choose. We wrap so many cars that sometimes you forget about some. I mean, I've been in that industry for over 10 years now, so we've wrapped quite a few really, really cool cars over the years. But I guess those two are more of the recent standout.
Yeah, and lastly, is there anyone you would like to thank who has supported your racing journey?
I mean, my mum and dad, obviously. They've been the number one supporters from the get. So they made a lot of sacrifices for me to be able to get an opportunity to make any kind of career in motorsport. Got to thank them. We've got to thank my wife, who's also been super supportive for, I guess the last, since she sort of came into my life, she was able to, help out and really push me towards making something happen. Everyone that's involved in Formula 3, from the guys and girls at Artec that gave me my first shot, to everyone at Gilmore Racing, who not only did we achieve awesome success with them, but on a personal level, the amount of growth that I had with them, not just in the year that I raced with them, but even afterwards, was phenomenal. Errol Gilmore, who is unfortunately no longer with us, he was a big influence in my life. So always got to be very grateful to have had the opportunity to work alongside him. And there's been heaps. Ben from Fitness to Podium, whilst he's not in the industry anymore, he did a lot for us in terms of prepping from the fitness side of things. That was a real game changer when he came on board in terms of shaping like my fitness as a driver, which we still carry through to this day. There's been so many people that you meet and help out along the way, like everyone at Anglo Motorsport, Tim Beale. They all play their own little part in making the journey what it was. So I guess everyone that you kind of meet and plays a part, you got to thank them. And we've been doing it long enough that there's quite a few, so if I've missed anyone, I'm sorry, but they're all the big ones, that's for sure.
And for anyone who wants to keep up with your future racing or your business, what's your social media?
For social media, mainly active on Instagram. I've still got a Facebook page, I think. Hopefully it hasn't been deleted. And it's just John Collins, JON. On Instagram, personal is John Collins _race, and then business-wise, the PPF Studio. So feel free to follow.
Thanks so much for chatting to me tonight, John. It's been really interesting hearing about your achievements, and I appreciate you sharing your experiences with me and the viewers. Hopefully I can see you at the racetrack sometime. And remember, everyone, drive fast and take chances. Thanks so much, John.
No worries, thanks, Dad. And then best of luck in your own racing adventure. I wish you all the best. And hopefully get a catch up with you at a racetrack.
Yep.